What's up, everybody? Just gonna wait a second, see if anybody shows up before we get rolling. Not at home today, as you can see, so this is the best situation I could come up with. And I hope it works out. With a little bit of luck, it will. I'm probably gonna start on time today, though. Hope you guys are all doing okay out there. Hope everybody's having a good week, taking care of yourself. Sorry about missing last week. Some stuff came up, but we're back at it. Alright, I'm just gonna roll it. So, for you people that are playing the home game, right, that haven't been hitting the live thing but just catching it afterwards, feel free to drop me any questions in the comments of the live video, and I'll be glad to get back to you with an answer. So that's one of the main reasons that I'm doing this, so people have a forum to ask questions and to see what they need to move forward. So feel free to do that. Alright, I'm going to get going. This week we're moving on with Chapter 7 of Dharana Darshan by the good Swami Janananda. This week's chapter it's a lot. That's why we're only going to do half this week and half next week. There's so much technique in here, and there's so much vocabulary to understand that it's just a lot. I know at least a few of you are beginners. Most of you are, actually, that I do know personally. And that's okay. So just take in as much of this as you can, and don't feel like you need to understand every single word that goes by. Because the thing is, you know about this, you know where it's located, you know what book it's in. If there's something you need to go back and reference or you're interested in, you can go do that. There's a ton of techniques here. And one of the things that's strange is he's kind of bouncing around from techniques that are kind of more advanced than where you should be right now. So that's one of the small negatives of the fact that this was basically based off of a presentation given to a bunch of advanced students. Or, intermediate students, really, I'd probably say. So anyway, let's get on with it. Chapter 7, Yogic, Tantric, and Upanishadic Dharana. In this book, many guided practices of dharana have been presented from the yogic, tantric, and Upanishadic traditions. These practices represent an advanced level of teaching, which up to now has never been elucidated for the general public. They are being given at this time because a need has been expressed by many serious and advanced practitioners for more guidance into the deeper dimensions of meditation. Systematic study and practice of these techniques will help the practitioner to bridge the gap between the preliminary techniques which are being taught today by most schools and the advanced methods or spontaneous techniques which have traditionally never been taught except through direct transmission from guru to disciple. Yogic and Tantric Dharana. The practices of Chakra Shuddhi and Ajapa Dharana, which are described here in a very detailed manner, apart from being an integral part of mantra yoga, are also given prominence in the Upanishads. The 10 Ajapa Dharanas are described in the Hamsa Upanishad, which is the 15th of the 108 Upanishads and forms a part of the Atharva Veda. There are 2 levels of Ajapa practices. At the Pratyahara level, and you remember Pratyahara is withdrawal of senses, right? The method covers the gross external aspect using physical activity, the breathing process, to internalize the awareness. Then mantra is added to stop the self-induced mental fluctuation. At the dharana level, however, the practice is greatly intensified. There is a deep concentration on the mantra, chakra, and nadis, so that even the causal manifestations, inherent experiences of the senses and world, tend to gradually dissipate. The 10 practices given here represent the advanced level of Ajapa, which belongs to the Dharana group. Of course, it should be understood that the Ajapa Dharana group of practices is not to be attempted until the Pratyahara group has been mastered. The practices of Ajapa Japa are so organized that the concentration on the breath and the mantra in the pathways of Sushumna, Ida, and Pingala opens the chakras and brings about the state of Dharana spontaneously, without strenuous effort to control and still the mind. Tritaka. After Ajapa Dharana, Tritaka, the practice of gazing steadily at one point, is the next technique we come to. These practices of Tritaka can be taken up progressively, according to one's abilities and inclination. Tritaka is a fundamental concentration technique in both the yogic and tantric systems, as well as in the Upanishadic system. Here it is presented at 4 levels, which cover the entire span of concentration, from external and internal to Shunya Drishti, the culmination of meditation practice. The Tritaka practices also fall into 2 groups, Pratyahara and Dharana. Pratyahara Tritaka involves gazing at an external point, whether a candle, symbol, yantra, or mandala, or the different forms of Tritaka that have been described in the yogic texts. Tritaka aims to control the dissipation that occurs when we become aware of form. Control over this aspect, the awareness of form, is the aim of Tritaka. At the Dharana level, the form is seen internally. So when they keep talking about things that are at the Dharana level, they're just basically talking about taking these practices inwards and using some type of tool inwardly to do the same practice that we're doing externally in a more gross manner starting out as we get used to them, right? The process is similar, but instead of using an external image on which to focus one's visual perception, we develop and awaken our own internal visual perception. What is stored in the mind in the form of visual impressions is gradually released in this technique until ultimately the vision of shunyata occurs. Upanishadic Dharana. The Yoga Upanishads describe the various methods and levels of Akasha Dharana. Upanishadic Dharana is not just fixation of the mind on some object or point. It is a very complex process where the mind is taken through different states of external, intermediate, and internal experiences. These methods all use different visualization techniques, which are done which are done through the mediums of Akasha or space. According to the Vedic tradition, Akasha, space, or the sky, is the most effective support for meditation. By dwelling on the image of the sky, an expansion of mind takes place automatically. The opposite of expansion is contraction, which brings discomfort and uneasiness. The ethereal vastness is a source of energy and power. All impetus towards action issues from the immense void. In the mind, there is normally a ceaseless bubbling of thought, feeling, and desire, which is like the foam on the surface of the ocean. We can see the foam in the bubbles, but not the ocean itself, although it is there. The bubbles and foam represent the mental consciousness. By dwelling upon the limitless space, the mind becomes conscious of the ocean, which is the infinite consciousness. The Yoga Upanishads describe 3 different levels of Dharana. 1. Bahir Laksha, the external stage. 2. Madhya Laksha, the intermediate stage. And 3. Antar Laksha, which is the internal stage. The various practices of Upanishadic Dharana have been taught according to these 3 levels. Some of the practices also contain all 3 levels within them. Although the range of practices is very broad, it is best to master each of the practices progressively, according to your individual ability and evolution. You should continue with one practice and try to master it gradually, stage by stage, before going on to the next practice. I'll just add, remember, there's no rush with any of this stuff. Take your time, do one thing, find something that you can do and feels comfortable to you and feels like you can't do it yet. So being comfortable is probably not the right term to use there, but something that you feel like you can accomplish, and just keep working with it for a while to deepen it and watch the change that happens. It's probably the most important thing that I can tell you here is just do these practices and watch the change over a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be forever. Do them for a week, 2 weeks, and see what's happening, just to get an idea, right? And if something's working for you, good, keep doing it and keep deepening the practice. And a lot of times they'll give you signs and things that you'll see happen that will let you know that that practice is either nearing completion or you have completed it. External level. The first level of Dharana is Bahir Laksha. The word Bahir means external, Laksha means aim, and Dharana means concentration. So Bahir Laksha is an external aim which one focuses upon to achieve concentration. The first technique of Bahir Laksha is called Bhuchari Mudra, which means gazing into space. First, the hand is held horizontally in front of the nose, and one focuses on the nail of the little finger, looking at it intensely and fixing the position of the eyes. Gradually, the hand is removed, and the same focus of the eyes is maintained for as long as possible. Now, of everything I'm going to go through today, if you're new, I would suggest that you focus on this practice this week. It sounds silly, but it is hard. You put your hand out there, and you'll see that it's easy to watch that pinky nail, right, when it's there. The problem is when you move it away and you try to focus, and you're going to find you go cross-eyed, your focus gets weird, and therein lies the challenge. Try to really hold that point of focus without the object of focus still being there. And that really is the challenge. And see how far you can get with that. Over time it will change. Buchari Mudra is a practice of Bahir Laksha. It is very difficult to keep the vision fixed on space. The eyes need to focus on something. It is hard to focus on nothing, on space. However, the longer you maintain the focus of the eyes on the point of space, the easier it becomes to control the sensorial inputs and prevent them from distracting the mental attention. The yogic texts state that when this stage is perfected, a blue light is seen upon closing the eyes. Now, not permanently, just when you're done with the practice, you close and you'll see internally, you will see a light. Small. And it's not going to knock your socks off. In addition to the first stage of frontal vision as practiced in Buchari Mudra, there is upper vision as in Akashi Mudra, which is the second practice. In Akashi Mudra, one bends the head back and gazes upward into space, keeping the eyes open. This practice can also be performed by combining Shambhavi Mudra and gazing at the space between the eyebrows at the level of Ajna Chakra. Although these techniques are all visual in nature, different nadis are influenced by the position of the eyeballs. In Kundalini Yoga, for example, it has been stated that in order to awaken Muladhara Chakra, one has to practice Nasikagra Drishti. Remember, Muladhara is all the lowest chakra, which is nose-tip gazing. Focusing the eyes on the tip of the nose creates different sensations in the nadis, which are connected with each other in the forehead region, as well as to Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Remember, Sushumna is the channel all the way up the middle of the spine, and the Ida and the Pingala are the ones on the sides of it, left and right, which in turn create a certain stimulus at Muladhara. These are techniques of Bahir Laksha, which stimulate the nadis and help to awaken the different psychic centers. The Bahir Laksha techniques aim at awakening the different nadis, just as the technique of Buchari Mudra, the first of these practices, is known to be perfected when there is a vision of blue light. In the same way, the practice of Akashi Mudra is known to be perfected when there is a vision of golden light. So what does this blue and golden light signify here? It signifies the awakening of the Ida and Pingala nadis. The blue represents Ida and the gold, Pingala. So in the external aspect of Dharana, an effort is made to internalize the mind, to fix the mind on one point, to intensify the state of concentration, and also to awaken the two nadis, Ida and Pingala. Intermediate level, Akasha Dharana. We're not going to go too much farther for today. The next aspect of Dharana is Madhya Laksha. The word Madhya means intermediate, Laksha means aim, and Dharana means concentration. So this is the intermediate stage of Dharana. In this stage, an effort is made to focus the mind on the experience of space. In yoga, 3 regions of space are generally described within the physical body. These 3 physical spaces are Chitakasha, the space of Chitta, or consciousness experienced in the head region between the Vishuddhi, Ajna, and Sahasrara chakras. Hridayakasha, the space of the heart experienced in the chest region, located between Manipura, Anahata, and Vishuddhi chakras. Now just a note there, you heard Hridayakasha. Anytime you hear Hridaya, it's sometimes spelled with an I and sometimes without it. Sometimes it's just Hridaya. But either way, that always means something related to the heart and the heart center. Dharakasha, the space of the lower regions, encompassing Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and the Manipura chakras. The techniques of Dharana meditation, commonly described in the books on meditation, are related to these 3 spaces, which are also experienced physically within the body. These practices are known as Chitakasha Dharana, Hridakasha Dharana, and Dharakasha Dharana. And you might recognize from the pranayama I gave you a couple weeks ago that basically put our focus in these 3 spaces and also worked with the mantra at the same time. Also, the mantra that we worked with that day, Om Mani Padme Hum, I did a whole video on that too, so if you haven't seen that yet, check that out. I put a lot of effort into that to try to really give you a good grounding in what it is that you're saying and why you're saying it and how to say it. Okay? Chitakasha Dharana is a technique of meditation in which the awareness of space and Chitakasha is built up in different ways, seeing the colors, shapes, and symbols that manifest, creating and removing mental images, and allowing images to arise spontaneously. As the mind becomes subtle, different shapes, geometric figures, yantras, and mandalas will be seen. These represent a state of perception in the mind. Sometimes nothing will be seen. In order to draw water from a well, you require a long rope. If the water is 80 feet down and your rope is only 40 feet, you will obviously never get water. So although you may see nothing in the region of Chitakasha, it does not mean that nothing exists. There is always some experience at every level. No level is without experience. However, it needs to be understood that the intensity of our effort will determine how far and how deep we can go. This principle applies to every technique and aspect of yoga. Hridayakasha Dharana is concentration on the heart space and is a Vedic meditation process involving the three bodies of Prajna, Tejas, and Vaishwanara. In this process, the light is experienced in the heart. There are many Upanishads that give descriptions of the Hridayakasha Dharana techniques. These are techniques which deal with the intensity of emotion and feeling, creation of an emotion, colors of an emotion, changing of an emotion, and also the dimension beyond emotion. These are not the conscious emotions that we normally deal with in daily life, but the deep subconscious feelings that are far more intense. These emotions have to be experienced and relived in order to break the conditioning of the mind. The psychotherapeutic aspect of meditation has its roots in Hridayakasha Dharana. The Hridayakasha Dharana is concentration on the space of the lower regions and comprises the techniques found in the Kundalini literature. These practices involve concentration on specific images in the region of Muladhara, Svadhisthana, or Manipura chakras. Here one may see a lotus flower, a color, a symbol, a deity, an animal, or an element. This detailed awareness of the chakras is called the Hridayakasha Dharana. And that's all I'm going to read today. We'll finish that second half of that chapter next week, because that is a bundle of stuff, is it not? So just practice that one thing this week and see what it does for you. See if you can make any progress with that. And with that, I'm going to give you one other in lieu of a long meditation, because obviously this situation here isn't conducive to any of that. I'm going to give you something short and useful. It's called Nadi Sodhana. It's part of a lot of different yoga lineages that I've seen, or they teach it in a lot of lineages that I've seen. Some Kriya yoga lineages being part of it. It's called Nadi Sodhana. So what it is, let me run through this first real quick. The first thing you want to do is make sure you don't have bad high blood pressure, heart problems. If you have any of those types of things where holding your breath, or what's called bandha in yoga, don't do that then. You can do this practice and it will still have a good effect on you. And no worries. Just skip that part of it because it could cause you trouble. But if you are okay otherwise, then definitely hold these as at the points where we should, okay? And it'll work just a little bit better. What this does is cleans the nadis and the channels. It's a form of purification, and it's also a really good practice to do if you're stressed out or you find yourself off center and you need to calm down really quick and you need to get yourself together for something. It's really helpful for that as well, and it's really simple. You can do it quick anywhere. The first thing you have to do is, it's called either Vishnu mudra or Murgi mudra. You take these your index finger and your middle finger and you touch the palm with them. So you've got this thing going on, right? We can also call it surfer mudra, and it's called Murgi mudra because of like deer. Murgi is a deer in Sanskrit. Silly as that is. So what you do is just take a few deep breaths first. And if you're making this as part of your practice, then what you want to do is, I would just do a body scan first, right? And that's where I would then put this in. That'll get you even deeper in a more relaxed state to prepare you for everything else that's coming. Okay? So take the thumb of this Murgi mudra and close your right nostril, okay? And breathe in. After you breathe in, close this and hold it for the same amount of time that you breathe in, if you don't have any of those problems, okay? Otherwise, just hold it. If you took 4 to breathe in, then hold it for 4. And then let go the other side, the right side, and breathe out. For that same count, right? Make sense? Then we're going to hold for a sec and then breathe in. Close it up again. Open the other side and release. short hold. Breathe in. Now right there at this point on this exhale is where you've completed one whole cycle. Okay? Once you've completed a whole cycle, you can do as many cycles of this as you want. Okay, just breathe in again. Hold, close. Out the other side. And hold a little bit. And just keep that rotation going for, five rotations. You could do a little bit more if you want, just 5 minutes, or you could keep this going to 20, 25 minutes if you feel like it, if you really feel like it's working for you and you want to experiment with it further. So it's a cool technique that I learned long ago, and it's very helpful, especially anxiety, stress, all that stuff. It really will help knock that out. I feel a little more chilled out just doing that couple. So sorry this one's so quick, and I'm sorry about the noise this week, but I'm out here in Red River, New Mexico, just hanging out. I thought it'd be cool to just show you the cool view out here. It's nice, and the weather and the air is clean, and it's cool. It's very relaxing. So I hope that helped you guys some this week. I don't know if anybody's here, but if anybody is here, please feel free to ask me any questions in the chat now before I kill this for the week. Sorry I'm not disappearing. I'm just looking down here. Okay, what's up, Texas Dub Style? Good to see you, man. How's it going, Ryan? It's just me and you. All right, well, that's it. The energy that's been going around lately is very intense. There's an energy of change about us, there really is. And so if you feel it, if you feel that little bit of edginess that's coming from these things, can help you, number one. But number two, just think about your practice, think about what you're doing, and really try to further yourself on that angle. Make time every day, even if it's just a little bit, and if you can add to what you're already doing, that's even better. But it very much feels like that's what the pressure of this time is about, is really for all of us to go inward and figure out what we're doing and how we're contributing to the world as it is right now. If every one of us did that, this whole world would be a garden. I know I've been through this before, but that's what one of my teachers, Pragyananda, says all the time. If just 1.5% of the people on the whole planet meditated and went in deep and figured out what they were doing, the whole place would turn into a beautiful, peaceful garden in a very, very short amount of time. So let's just do our part to try to help that out. Cool? All right, guys. If I don't see any more questions, thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching the video afterwards. Let me see if anything's here. You are welcome. You are more than welcome, dude. Heck yeah, I'm feeling big time. Yeah, it is. It's strong right now. It's strong right now. Oh, one other thing before I go. I'm going to make a short about this too. But there's this one mudra, and it's called Hakini, I believe. Hakini mudra. Since I've been up here, I've been so tired, and I'm falling asleep trying to do my meditations. And it's like, I tried a few things to help, and I forgot about this. But the Hakini mudra, it's just simply put all your fingers together, fingertips all touching. If you're ever just so tired and you're falling asleep, and just really feel the energy of that for a few seconds. And it's just amazing how fast. It's just, I don't know if this will work for everyone. I'd be curious to hear how it works for you. But I had no problems at all. All I had to do was connect up like this and wait 10 seconds. And this mudra really helps out if you need to just wake up and shake off that tiredness and you keep falling asleep during your meditations. Just try to bring this one into play for a little bit. I learned this one from a Swami. So it's good stuff. It's very helpful. I know it's so simple, right? But it's meant to be accessible to everyone. That's the whole thing, right? So check that out. I'll be putting out a short about that soon too. So that's it. I think we're good for this week, guys. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you, and I love you guys bunches. Be safe and do your practice, and I'll talk to you soon. Any questions? I'll give it 10 more seconds if anybody's anything to add or anything to ask. And then I'm shutting down, signing out from Red River, New Mexico. I don't know how much lag is with this connection here, so I'll give it a few more seconds. All right, guys, I guess you're all good. Good. Keep up the good fight. All right, guys, have a good week. I'll see you then. See you next week, same time. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhi Naha. May all be happy.